So as you know, we were looking at Galatians 4, verse 8 to 20 on Sunday, and I quite enjoy all these between bits. We've got these lovely sections where Paul is expounding on the glories of our salvation, and then these between bits where we see a bit more of the heart of Paul, the heart of an apostle, just wanting the best for the people that he loves. And I find these bits so fascinating for a number of reasons, and we'll get to that just now. So the 3 points that I raised was, the one was the Jewish exception, the other one was what masters you, and the last one was God as storyteller. So about that Jewish exception, where the idea that fitting in and looking like a Jewish person, and by doing all the Jewish things could be an advantage for Christians so as to stay under the Roman radar and avoid persecution, is an interesting bit of contextual information that I found. And if you want a bit more info about that, go back and watch the video. But the short version there, just that there were benefits to appearing Jewish, because Rome wouldn't allow a new religion that declared only one God outside of the Jews. So to be declaring one God was to be looking for trouble with the Roman authorities. And so maybe the Judaizers, who were trying to get the new Christians to look like Jews and act like Jews, maybe they were well-intentioned, but even still, Paul says that's slavery. And when he's referring to either going back into Judaism, to the being Torah keepers, or alternatively going back into their Roman laws and their Roman pagan worship, which was a huge part of everyday life. It wasn't just a one-day thing. It was absolutely every meal. It was the punctuation to every day. And he's saying both of those are slavery. Just don't do it. And so what I wanted to ask maybe is something to think about or something to discuss is, what is the Jewish exception? What difference does that make to how you read Galatians or how you've perceived Galatians? So that might be something to think about. And then the second topic I said was what masters you. And that's something that's really, really been such a helpful thing for me, because I'm someone who tends to get really passionate about things, and I go all in, and I can get quite, even, I don't know if obsessive is the right word, but really stuck into things. As a young person, I found that I really started putting my identity in things and letting those things master me. And for me, this whole idea of is this thing my master or my slave? Is it serving its purpose, or am I serving its purpose? It was a good question for me to ask myself, just to order things rightly. And also what I said about that balance is overrated, that I prefer to be a centered Christian than a balanced Christian. That's something that's really affects how I live my life every day. Balance to me is the epitome of legalism and exhaustion, that if you don't hit it exactly right, you're just going to fall off and everything's going to collapse. Whereas for things to be centered, it's me united with Jesus, and everything revolves around that. Everything finds its rightful place around that. So that doesn't mean I get to chuck out things just because they're annoying me or because they're demanding more of my time than I'd like. Because there's some things that, rightly ordered, should take up a lot of my time, my family. These are priorities that Jesus has called me to. And so the right order for those things is for them to take up a significant amount of my time and my energy. That doesn't mean that they are mastering me. It means that they're rightly ordered in Jesus, in the kingdom of Jesus in my life. Whereas other things, they don't have to be as important as I can make them. I can get myself really stressed for not doing everything absolutely perfectly. But then that really ends up being more about me than it does about Jesus. And sometimes I have to say, Jesus, is this enough? Have I done enough? And he says, you've done enough. Go for it. You can leave it now. It doesn't have to be amazing or perfect or wonderful, or to just keep pushing until you've absolutely done everything that can possibly be done. Sometimes enough is enough. And I think that's something many of us can learn from. And just not to, whenever something's mastering us and it's taking up a huge amount of our brain space, and we're making decisions that where God is calling us to things, and those are the things that are holding us back, where the Bible says, throw off those hindrances, the sin that so easily entangles. But Sometimes these things aren't necessarily sin. Exercise is not sin. Eating healthily is not a sin. But any one of those things can be made into an idol. It can be made into something that can actually hinder us in our walk with God and in our community of God followers. So I think here, don't get too stressed about it. Don't make a big deal about it. Just, ask God. He's gracious and He wants us to live incredible lives that, are fulfilling His calling. And the last little point, why are there these bits with Paul and his rant and saying, why you perplex me and I want to be there and I can't be there, and we see his heart. And I just love the Bible for that it's not, He could have just given us a systematic theology. He could have given us a rules, a recipe, a formula, something to just say, do this and that's what you'll get. The vending machine of God. But actually He invites us into a relationship. He tells the story, this incredible narrative, His testimony of how He's interacted with His creation. And He invites us into that story. And that's grace. That's grace. And so what story is God telling through you? Where is He inviting you into a story where you'd much rather want a list of rules and recipes and formulas? What story is He trying to tell in you and through you and to you? I hope you have a good week.